Everyone, welcome to another podcast. Second upload from me today. We're going to crack on Radio Legends series. Today's guest was Paul Russling, episode 3 of the Radio Legends series, chatting a bit about Caroline and the old radio stations back in the day. So here we go. Here's my interview with Paul Russling. Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new podcast radio special. Exclusive radio-based content documenting the life and times of all radio stations from Radio 1 to Caroline to Luxembourg and all different radio stations from the local area like Viking FM, Radio Air, Rock FM and loads more. But today my topic is based on Caroline again, Radio Caroline, and a bit of other radio stations like 270. So yeah, and it's from Radio Caroline, of course, it's Paul Russling. Hello, Paul. Welcome along.
Hi, Ben. Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, we've got lovely sunshine in Yorkshire, so what's there to be not happy about?
And you're based in the same city as me?
Yeah, I'm just on the edge of Hull, on its peripheries. Mm-hmm.
Not far from the Beverley region?
I'm not far from Beverley, it's just up the road.
And we're here to talk about your favourite topic, a bit of radio history about Caroline, your time on Radio Caroline.
Yeah, well, my time actually on it was not very long, but my time involved with it is a lot longer, and I've done many things involved with Caroline, a lot of which I'm not prepared to talk about because sometimes it's verging on a little bit of, let's say it's frowned on by the authorities. So.
Fair enough. Shall we get on with the questions?
Yes, please.
Question 1. How did you first get involved with Radio Caroline?
Well, I knew the people who were involved with Three Floats. Caroline was off the air for a while in Holland, and when eventually they got the ship out of it was in choky, if you like. It was under arrest for not paying bills. When they finally got the ship free and got it back to sea, the manager of the station then was one of the 60s disc jockeys called Spangles Muldoon, better known to many nowadays as Chris Carey. But I knew Chris or Spangles or whatever from my time working in nightclubs. Chris also worked in nightclubs, as did his brother Barry, Big Bad Barry. And he knew I had this manic interest in Radio Caroline. I'd been there and seen them when they first got the ship back to sea, and it was in a bit of a state and not ready for broadcasting. Then they'd only been at sea about 6 weeks and the mast fell down. So the biggest thing then was to get the mast rebuilt. But without the ship coming in, the ship had to stop at sea. So they built this mast at sea under the cover of darkness, under the most amazing circumstances, with next to no money at all. They got some money from a rival station, Radio Veronica, which was also on a ship, but their ship had gone on the beach. So they rented Caroline's ship for a while, and Caroline got money that way. And then eventually it was all together and Caroline could get back on the air. And I told Chris I was very interested in the job. I was working in clubs in the Hull area, in fact, at the time, and got a phone call one day from Chris's wife, Kate. And she said, I've been talking to Chris. We'd like you to come and join Radio Caroline as a DJ. And I said, right, okay, we'll see you soon. And I put the phone down, apparently. And they didn't know if I was going to turn up or not. Well, to me, that was a stupid question. I mean, fancy imagining that you ring a disc jockey up and you say, we'd like you to join Radio Caroline. What other answer would there have been in those days? I mean, in those days, it was like ringing up somebody with a guitar and saying, would you like to come and play with the Beatles? There was no question in my mind, because don't forget, in those days, Ben, you won't remember, there was only BBC Radio 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever. There was no Radio 5. We had Radio Luxembourg at night and Caroline, and that's all you had. So Caroline was the only station that was a hip, groovy pop music station, and I desperately wanted to be involved on that. I was a disc jockey, loved playing records to 1,000 people, in a nightclub, in Tiffany's, Locarno's, Silver Blades Ice Rink, and all the other places, and Bailey's, and where else? Scamps. But there was no other feeling like being on the radio. I just desperately wanted to be on the radio. So I just turned up at Radio Caroline a couple of days later and said, right, here I am. What do you want me to do? And the station was still not quite on the air. They were just readying to launch, and they were doing test transmissions. So I began doing those test transmissions. We were on a new wavelength, and we weren't due to come on the air for about another 3 or 4 weeks. Well, then suddenly on the Sunday, a tender came out, and they said, oh, big news, we're going to start broadcasting tomorrow, full time. Sadly, our breakfast DJ, Roger Day, his wife won't let him come and play just yet. So he'll be along on pre-recorded programs in a couple of weeks, but we need a disc jockey for the breakfast program. And everyone decided, oh, that's got to be young Paul. Paul will do it. He's mad enough. He's loopy in the morning. He's the only one who can get up anyway. So I got parachuted into the breakfast program and absolutely enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, you talk about Caroline. I was told by Robin Ross there were a bit of rebellion on Caroline.
Yeah, there's always been rebellion. You get young people who are excited, and playing music is a very excitable business. It's exciting times, even being on a boat. You're away from home, you're away from the bosses. You tend to do things a little bit your own way and do what you want to do. And Caroline attracted rebels. It was set up and run by a guy who was a rebel, Ronan. And of course, he attracted people of a like mind and a like persuasion. We all wanted to be a rebel. We were all rebelling against this mad system that didn't allow private independent radio stations. They wouldn't allow Viking or any of the other stations. Radio Air was a latecomer. Capital Radio wasn't on the air in those days. So it did tend to attract people of a certain, let's say, disposition. And I was glad I was one of them. I was just absolutely overjoyed to be there. My girlfriend wasn't happy at my going there, but she's still with me, and it's 50 years ago now. Well, it will be next year.
Yeah, as you say, it's brilliant. Question 2, what inspired you to join Radio Caroline?
Well, apart from I was just hopelessly in love with music. I loved radio as well. The whole radio buzz inspired me, but there were certain individuals who inspired me. The first one has just died recently, Robbie Dale, the Admiral Robbie Dale. He was a DJ who, when I first heard him on the air, it was April 1966, and he just joined Caroline that month. And Caroline had only just become audible or reasonably audible up here in Hull. I lived on Hesel Road and went to school in Hull. And everyone said, oh, you can hear Caroline really, really clear now. And turned on the radio, sure enough, there it was. One of those DJs was the Admiral Robbie Dale. And I thought, wow, that's brilliant. That's fantastic. He sounds like he's having such a hip, groovy time. I want to do that job one day. And came to do it. And Robbie was one of my biggest inspirations. I think Chris was as well, Chris Carey or Spangles Muldoon. He joined Caroline a bit later. And he was just totally loopy. I'll tell you how loopy he was. He called his program the Lunchtime Loonabouts. And that was just Chris. Just nothing was done, nothing was scripted, nothing was done as you do it on the BBC or even HKR nowadays. It was all had to be done at breakneck speed, and it had to be different, and you had to do things different every time.
Brilliant, yeah. We'll move on to question 3. What was your favourite part about being on Caroline? And we're going to expand it a bit here on the ships. What was your favourite part about working on the ship radio compared to on land radio?
Yeah, I've worked on land stations and been involved with quite a few now, many times since. But I think in those days on Caroline, it was my first ever gig on the radio. And I just wanted to play music that I loved. which in those days was the Shangri-Las and Nancy Sinatra and things like that, but and lots of soul music. And I had the freedom to do that. You know, providing we had the record on the ship, which we didn't always, you could play what you wanted. There were no plug records in those days. Nobody set aside a format and said, you will play this. Although we had a Caroline Top 40, which was similar to the UK Top 40, the regular Top 40, but we had a couple of plug records in there as well. But it was still a great sounding station. And you could play records. I mean, one of the plug records we had was I Saw the Lights on Run Green. And I remember having to flog the Doobie Brothers to death as well. We played Long Train Running and stuff like that. But Caroline was a bit of a rocky station. We didn't play the same sort of stuff as Radio. Radio 1 played stuff by Des O'Connor and Jimmy Young and little Jimmy Osmond, I'll Be Your Long-Haired Lover from Liverpool, and his brother Donny Osmond, Puppy Love. And Radio 1 played that sort of stuff, and Radio Luxembourg did as well, but we didn't play that on Caroline. We just kind of forgot about the grandmother appeal kind of music and the Kiddiewinkle appeal music. I don't think we played, I don't remember ever playing the Osmonds. I don't think there was even any on the ship, but we did play quite rocky rock music, and we played lots of reggae as well.
Brilliant. We'll move on to question 4 now, because we're getting through this at a breakneck pace.
Good.
What was your greatest achievement at Radio Caroline?
Oh, I don't think I have any particular achievements at all, certainly none that are particularly memorable. I think one of them was we had a couple of rough days when, and don't forget this, although this was summer, we were 6 miles out from the coast, and we had some pretty ropey weather once, and everybody was sick except me. I was probably just too drunk to be sick, because I used to sit and drink beer until the cows came home. I remember one day I did something like about 11 hours on the air, because tapes were breaking, pre-recorded tapes were breaking, or people were just falling ill. I remember days like that really stand out, but I don't think I had a particularly great achievement. I was never the world's best disc jockey, never even Caroline's best disc jockey, not even in my own mind. But I could do the job competently. I could keep on going. I could speak German as well, because we'd done German at school. So I got chucked into a program called the Caroline Classics program. Over on, we had 2 transmitters, and one of them ran easy listening. We had Top 40 on the one I was on. That was on around the clock. And then on the other transmitter, we had easy listening music for Holland during the day, and that was all Peggy Lee and Frank Sinatra. And I didn't ever do any of those programs. But we had a program at 6 o'clock at night for a couple of hours when we played classical music. And we had this enormous library, I don't know where the hell it had come from, of German classical albums. And they were, all the liner notes were printed in German. So if you wanted to know what the tracks were, you had to have a good German pronunciation and so on, and be able to read stuff. So I got chucked into doing that, and it was a bit, I played all my favorite classical music tracks. It was a bit boring after half an hour. So I said, would you like to write to me and tell me what your favorite 5 classical music tracks are? And gave the address out, Radio Caroline, The Hague in Holland, and thought no more about it. Well, the following day, everyone was complaining like hell. Apparently it wasn't the done thing to solicit mail on the air in a classical music program and ask for record requests. It was all supposed to be straight-laced. So I probably have a distinction of being the only one to ever ask people to send their classical music requests in, because I only knew about half a dozen. I didn't know much about classical music at all. I knew half a dozen classical tracks. There's that Aluminium Chorus, that's one of my favorites. And the Ride of the Valkyries, love that one. And the 1812 Overture, actually I do know quite a few of those, but that was quite an achievement.
Brilliant. And finally, last question on the list. Would you ever go back to Caroline? Radio Caroline or the ship?
Yeah, I'd go back and do an old program or two. In fact, they had me on the air a couple of weeks ago, I believe, on a Sunday. But I certainly wouldn't go out there for 3 weeks, and I don't think I'd enjoy going out there for a week, because you give up a lot of The home comforts, they're very important to me. I love being at home. I love being in the Hull area. I don't particularly want to go and sit out, 6 miles even from the coast. Certainly not 14 or 15 miles from the coast, because it gets very lonely. Okay, so you can hitch a lift from a passing fishing boat and nip ashore and have a couple of beers and so on, but not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun at the best of times. Hard work. A couple of friends of mine have stayed out there for up to 6 months at a time, and it's no life for me, not at all.
Yeah.
Can I just give a quick plug for this wonderful book, which is the Radio Caroline Bible, which is a book I wrote 2 years ago. I'm just in the middle of updating it now, and there's a new edition coming out just in time for Christmas, about November. And in 500 odd pages, it tells a full story about Radio Caroline, which the Caroline ship now, of course, is a former Grimsby trawler, the Ross Revenge. But Caroline is just about to come back on the air. Well, they're on the air all the time now. Pick it up on online or on the mobile apps, but you can also get it on the medium wave band on the old BBC World Service frequency of 648 or 464 meters, I think it was 434, 46. Anyway, it's 648 in kilohertz. Well, very shortly, Caroline is switching on a big new transmitter, and they're going to increase the power by at least 10 times. They've got a very powerful transmitter. And when they switch that on in a few weeks' time, you'll hear it much brighter and better and easier than ever before. So maybe you'll have a little twiddle with the tuning knob and find us there, Ben.
Excellent. That's good for the listeners and viewers.
It's some good information, and that's not been formally announced yet, but by the time you've finished editing this, it'll be ready to go.
Well, I don't edit. I just put it on my website and let the people come.
Oh dear. So it's all there, warts and all. Okay.
All there, once in all, but the radio version, when this gets syndicated, will be edited down with the best bits of the interview.
Excellent. Okay. And just chop all the airs and the ums out.
Yep. That's
Good.
it for today.
Right. Well, maybe we'll come back another day, and you might get some questions in the meantime. People will drop you a line and ask you questions to ask me, and I'll be happy to come back and have a further chat with you again.
We'll get you on Hull Kingston Radio. How was that?
Okay, I'll pop in there and see you. Yeah, good idea.
When we release our restrictions.
Are you still in the restrictions, are you? Yeah. Well, I've got the old gas mask somewhere. I think it's in the cupboard under the stairs. I'll drag that out and I'll wear that.
I'll ask Pete Mills for you.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Millsy. Give him my regards.
I will.
And his lovely wife Fiona as well. She's great on the air. Like Fiona on the air.
Yeah, I do.
Good.
Thank you for joining me here on the podcast, Paul.
It's been my pleasure.
Again soon for a Radio Legends podcast, but for now, please give it up for Paul Russling. Thank you very much for watching and listening. And that's a wrap. That was my interview with Paul Russling. More coming up later on tonight. I'm going to push to get all my others out. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that one. Hope you like, subscribe and all that. And yeah, I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching. And yeah, that's a wrap. BL out.